What's up, everyone? We're going to be going through the best NBA player props on Prizepicks today. Now, I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks for my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see, we actually got 21 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get 21 picks right like me, win more bets, or receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon. Should be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure you join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $575 just yesterday. Another member who won $200 for the 5th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description. So go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group. And I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. So quick shout out to Stephen Boyle M5G who said tailing again, thank you. So shouts out to him. Shouts out to Ricardo Goza who said let's go, let's cash out, and spammed up the emoji. So shouts out to them. And if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below on this video and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. All right, so let's get straight into the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're going to be talking about is none other than Lugenstort, and this one is for points for 9.5, and this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Lugenstort, as we all know, fantastic player from the Oklahoma City Thunder, and he's actually gone on the under in 3 out of the last 5 games. Now, looking at those 5 games, we see on April 9th, they faced off against the Lakers, where he had 17 points there. Then, heading into round 1 in the playoffs on April 21st in game 1 against Memphis, he had 12 points in that matchup. Moving on from that, they played again on April 23rd against Memphis, where he had 8 points there. Then April 25th, faced off against Memphis again in game 3 and had 2 points. And then April 27th in game 4, where they were able to get the sweep, he actually did only score 4 points there. So he has gone on the under more than he has gone on the over 3 out of the last 5, and his average over the last 5 is also 8.6. So that's definitely something, to keep an eye out for as well. Now, as you all know, it's definitely below the line when it comes to averages, but they do face off in this first game against none other than the Denver Nuggets. So this is going to be a very exciting series. This is obviously game 1 of this series, and there is definitely a lot of hype between this game. Now, looking at both of these teams, OKC and Denver, we do see Oklahoma City Thunder did come in with the best record in the NBA in the Western Conference, because they actually had a record of 68-14. So they actually did a fantastic job there. Now, obviously, percentage-wise, they did have a win percentage of 82.9%, which was insane. And then on top of that, they face off against Denver Nuggets, who came in at 4th, and they actually had somewhat, a worse record of 50-32, and then also a 61% win percentage. So still both very good teams, both in the top 5. So it's definitely something, you want to keep an eye out for, I guess, when it comes to the competitiveness of this game. Now, looking at actually Denver and where they do rank when it comes to points allowed, we do see that Denver Nuggets do actually rank when it comes to points allowed. They actually rank 25th. So interestingly enough, they do rank very low. However, the reason why we do like the under for this situation here is that when it comes to Lugenstort, he does face off against Denver. Dort does play the guard position, and because of that, Denver Nuggets actually do a fantastic job against a guard position. So they do a great job at, restricting him from points, and we definitely see that happening in this game for sure. Obviously, looking at Dort as well, he doesn't really have the highest usage rate, which is definitely a big thing. The fact that he doesn't have a high usage rate, especially in a game like this, where it is obviously, the Western Conference semifinals, we are expecting a lot more of the shooters and star players in this team to really do a lot more of the scoring. Dort is really out there just to provide some defense. Yes, if he does have the opportunity to score, he will, but I do believe, and we definitely have seen also in that round 1, that he tends to try to find his teammates like Shea, like Chet, to really score the ball. So we definitely see that happening in this game, no doubt about it. Now, coming from this matchup as well, we also do see, when we see, Dort face off against Denver in the past, we do see something pretty interesting. We saw them face off against each other in last year on the 24th, and he had 5 points in that matchup. Then on November 6th, faced off again where he had 11 points there. After that, faced off again in March or 9th of March and had 6 points in that matchup. And then on the 10th, literally day after, back to back, he had 26 points in that matchup. So when we actually look at it, you do see he's going on the under in 2 out of those 4 games. So, somewhat even when it comes to that. Now, obviously, coming into this next game, it is playoff time, so it's definitely going to be a very, very different scenario. We are expecting a lot more different defensive pressures that may come Dort's way, and also just the rest of the Oklahoma City Thunder. So, for that reason, we do very still much like the under for this situation here, and we are expecting, this game to be a very exciting one at that still. So, Lugan's Dort, 9.5 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about Drew Holiday. So as you all know, Drew Holiday, great player, and this one is a fantastic one because this one is actually for points, rebounds, and assists, so PRA, all combined in one for 17, and this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Drew Holiday, we've actually seen him go on the under in 2 out of the last 5 games, with one of them actually being a push. Now, looking at those games, we definitely have seen something pretty interesting. Now, they did actually rest Drew Holiday throughout that series pretty much, but he still did play a couple. But looking at the stats, we do see in his most recent game of the last 5, April 7th was against Washington Wizards, so that was during the regular season. He had a 26 PRA there. Then New York Knicks faced off against them on April 9th where he had a 23 PRA. April 12th against Charlotte had an 8 PRA. April 21st played Orlando. He actually had 17 PRA there, and then a 21 PRA on April 24th. So it definitely was fantastic to see when it comes to Drew Holiday, throughout the series, to see him kind of, play at least some of the games. Now, coming into this one, he does have an average over the last 5 of 19, so slightly above this line. However, they do face off against none other than the New York Knicks coming into this game. Now, looking at both of these teams, this is also, a semifinals, a conference semifinals for the East. Now, this is definitely going to be an exciting game between both of these teams, but looking at where they rank, we do see Boston Celtics did come in with the second spot in the Eastern Conference with a 61-21 record. So they actually had a 74.4% win percentage, which was fantastic to see. Came in second, like I mentioned, and also came in third when it came to all, Eastern and Western Conference teams. So Boston absolutely did fantastic. Now they face off against the New York Knicks. Now, this one is a very, very close matchup because the New York Knicks do actually rank third with a record of 51-31. So, for that reason, this is definitely going to be an exciting game because we actually do see that they are only, pretty much one spot behind each other and above, so it's definitely going to be a pretty interesting matchup there. Now, looking at both of these teams, obviously both great defensive teams, but looking at New York Knicks, we do see the Knicks ranking 9th in points allowed. We also see that they rank 7th when it comes to assists allowed, and then rebounds allowed, we also see them ranked 2nd. So they rank very, very well when it comes to, restricting points, rebounds, and assists to the guard position as well. We actually see them rank very high, and the fact that they do rank great at restricting it overall and also on a per position basis, we definitely see Drew Holiday struggling here. Although he has gone on the over, over the last couple of games, you do have to remember some of the games were during the regular season, and also Orlando was a very, very different matchup. Now that they face off against the New York Knicks, we are expecting a very, very different sort of, play style and usage rate from Drew Holiday coming into this one. Obviously, Drew Holiday as well doesn't have the highest usage rate from this team. There's other players like Jason Tatum, like Jaylen Brown, Kristaps. List really does go on. And we definitely see them, especially in game one, having a little bit more usage rate than someone like Drew Holiday. Drew is really out there to play some great defense, and we definitely see that affecting this line due to the fact that we do very much like the under for it. Now, looking at Drew Holiday actually against, New York Knicks during the regular season, it's definitely something interesting to see. Now, they did face off against each other last year on the 22nd, where he had 18 points, 4 rebounds, and also 4 assists. So he actually did a great job there. Then moving on from that, on the 23rd of February, had 14 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists in that matchup. And then on the 8th, had 16 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists there. So he's actually done a great job. Now, he did go on the under in 0 out of those 3 games. However, guys, you do have to remember that Jrue Holiday, coming into this next series and this playoffs, you do also have to remember Jrue Holiday didn't play that many games in the Orlando matchup. So, you definitely want to take that into consideration here. So coming into this next one, we are expecting New York Knicks to really come out with a lot of different defensive strategies, which could definitely be, I guess, hurt someone like Jrue Holiday's usage rate out there. It could definitely affect him and have him go on the under. So for that reason, Jrue Holiday, 17 PRA or points, rebounds, and assists for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about another great player, and that is none other than Aaron Gordon. So, Aaron Gordon, great player, as we all know, like I mentioned. Now, when we look at Aaron Gordon, he's definitely done a fantastic job, for his team. But this one is a fantastic one for points, rebounds, and assists, or PRA. And this one is actually for 25.5, and this one is for less. Now, looking at Aaron Gordon, we've actually seen him go on the under in 3 out of the last 5 games, which is interesting to see. Now, obviously, looking at those last 5 games, it was against, their last playoff series against LA Clippers. April 25th, face-off against Clippers had 22 PRA. After that, 25 PRA against, LA Clippers again on April 27th. April 30th, 29 PRA. May 2nd had a 25th PRA, and then in Game 7 had a 32 PRA on May 4th. So his average over the last 5 is actually 26.6, which is interesting to see. So just slightly above this line. Now, like we mentioned before, this is definitely going to be a very exciting game, like we mentioned. Now, obviously, looking at both of these teams, we do see that Aaron Gordon has actually gone on the under pretty consistently, and they face off against Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, as always, we really recently just talked about this matchup. Thunder ranked first, 68-14 record, 82.9% win percentage, and the Nuggets on the other side, 50-32, 61% win percentage. So definitely a difference between those two records. However, it is definitely going to be a very interesting game. Now, looking at this matchup even further, we also do see that when we look at Aaron Gordon, we do see Oklahoma City Thunder do rank 3rd when it comes to points allowed. Assists allowed, they do rank 4th, and then rebounds allowed, they rank a little bit worse as they rank 20th. Now, although they do rank a little bit lower in that rebounding category, we still do definitely like the under for this situation here, due to the fact that OKC overall just do a great job defensively. Now, although they do rank lower in rebounds, we actually do see OKC do a fantastic job at restricting rebounds to the forward position, which is what, AG tends to play. And that's a big reason why we do very much like the under for this one. Now, when we look at this matchup as well, we also are expecting, a pretty interesting game due to the fact that it is game 1. Usually we tend to see on game 1 a lot of unpredictability. Some players may not be able to get going as much due to the strategies that both of these teams make. So we do believe a lot of the attention is going to be on Aaron Gordon. I know it may not seem like it, but Aaron Gordon is a very integral part to this team. So, OKC are definitely going to come out with some strategies to try to stop him as early as possible, because if he gets going, usually we see Jokic and Jamal Murray get going as well. So that's definitely, in the books for them for sure. Now, looking at Aaron Gordon against OKC during the regular season, we definitely have seen something pretty interesting. Now, looking at these matchups we saw on the 24th of last year they played, he had 12 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists in that matchup. So he actually did go on the under in that one. And then on the 9th of actually March, we saw him go on the under again, where he had 5 points, 2 rebounds, and 0 assists. So we definitely see him going on the under once again in this next matchup, especially for someone like Aaron Gordon, who's gone on the under twice against him already. We should see it happen again in this 3rd time, and especially during this series as well. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation here. So Aaron Gordon for 25.5 points, reps, and assists for less, I think is a great pick. So as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but Prizepicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player we're going to be talking about is none other than Jaylen Brown. Now, as you all know, Jaylen Brown, great player for none other than the Boston Celtics, and this is the start start of the Eastern Conference semifinals, because we actually have the New York Knicks face off against the Boston Celtics. Now, before we get into the actual matchup, looking at how Jaylen Brown actually did during the regular season, we did see him average 22.2 points, ranking him 22nd, 5.8 rebounds, ranking him 52nd, 4.5 assists, ranking him 46th, and then a 46.3% field goal percentage, which ranked him 70th. So he actually did a fantastic job for the Boston Celtics during the regular season, and we definitely see this being a very, very good matchup, because the New York Knicks do face off against the Boston Celtics. And as you all know, these two teams are very close in ranking. Now, we did see Boston Celtics come in the second spot in the Eastern Conference with a 61-21 record. So they did a fantastic job there, 74.4% win percentage, which I thought was great. And they face off against the New York Knicks. Now, New York Knicks on the other side of things, Knicks did come in third in the Eastern Conference with a 51-31 record. They actually did a fantastic job, a 62.2%, win percentage there. So, these teams are as close as possible when it comes to, I would say the ranking between both of them, second and third. So very, very tight race. Now, when we look at this matchup, it's definitely going to be an exciting one. But looking at New York Knicks and how they did defensively during the regular season, we did see New York Knicks ranked 9th when it comes to points allowed. When it comes to assists allowed, we see them ranked 7th and then 2nd in rebounds allowed. So, New York Knicks are a fantastic team defensively, and what we do see is that New York Knicks actually do a fantastic job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists to the shooting guard position. And for that reason, we definitely see someone like Jaylen Brown struggling there. Now, although Jaylen Brown is a great player and he did have a great series in round 1, we definitely still see him going on the under in this first game, as we are expecting a lot of the defensive tension to be on him and players like him, and also even someone like Jason Tatum. Now, Jaylen Brown, great player, as we all know. However, we do believe Knicks are going to send it their all defensively in order to try to stop him, as they do a great job naturally, throughout the regular season against, I would say, shooting guards in that sense. Now, looking at how Jaylen Brown actually did in the first series against Orlando, obviously this is really hard to tell because, this is a different matchup, so just take this with a grain of salt. But they faced off against Orlando in game 1, had a 103-86 victory. He had 16 points in that matchup, 2 assists, 5 rebounds, which I thought was great. In game 2, came in with 36 points, 5 assists, 10 rebounds, and had a 109-100 win against them. In game 3, they actually ended up taking a loss with 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 19 points. Then had 21 points with also 1 assist and 11 rebounds with a 107-98 win, which I thought was great there. And on top of that, finishing off in game 5, they were able to get it done because they had a 23 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assist win, which was a 120-89 win there. So they actually did a fantastic job during the regular season. And also, Jaylen Brown during the first round in the playoffs also did a fantastic job there. So for that reason, we do very much, still like the under, even though he did do well in that Orlando series. Like I mentioned, it's a completely different series. It's also game 1. So we are expecting a lot of the defensive attention to be very much, on star players like Jaylen Brown, and we should see him go on the under in this one. When you also look at the pace of this game as well, we are also expecting a pretty slow paced game. Both of these teams are very, very slow paced, but Knicks have done a great job all season, slowing down faster paced teams. Although Knicks are a slow paced team, Celtics are a little bit faster. We see Celtics coming down to Knicks' pace. So for that reason, keep an eye out for the under. I think all 3 categories definitely have the capability to see him go on the under there. So if the line is too close to his averages, then definitely look to go on the under. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Chet Holmgren. So as you all know, Chet, great player for Oklahoma City Thunder. And this one is a great one because obviously Chet during the regular season actually averaged 15 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, and also had a 49% field goal percentage. So he did a fantastic job for OKC, and he does a great job during that first series against Memphis. Now they do have a bit of a tougher matchup against the Denver Nuggets. Now this is going to be a very, very exciting matchup, as we all know. And Denver Nuggets did just come out of a 7-game series. So that's definitely something you want to be wary of, due to the fact that, they just finished up a 7-game series. Thunder has had some time to rest. Now, when we actually look at the matchup between both of these teams, Nuggets and Thunder, we do see that Nuggets did actually come fourth in the Western Conference with a record of 50-32. They actually did a fantastic job there. 61% win percentage. They actually finished the season off with a 3-win streak, which was huge. And then Oklahoma City Thunder, OKC, finished at the top of the table of the whole NBA because they actually had a 68-14 season. So 68 wins, 14 losses, 82.9% win percentage, which I thought was huge there. Now, on top of that, when you also look further, you also do see that Thunder are also, not only just ranked number 1 in Western Conference, but just in the whole of the NBA. So they've definitely been dominating throughout this, regular season, I would say. Now, looking at actually, where Denver Nuggets do rank defensively, we do actually see Denver Nuggets did rank 25th when it came to points allowed. Moving on into assists allowed, we do see that the Denver Nuggets also rank pretty low, 29th. Now, on top of that, when we also look at someone like, in the rebounding sector as well, we also do see Denver Nuggets rank 6th. So they rank a little bit higher in that rebounding category. Now, when it comes to Chet, we do very much like the over for this situation here, but strictly just for actually, points and assists. Now, looking at this, obviously we do see that Denver Nuggets, a big reason why they do rank well in rebounds is that Aaron Gordon, Jokic are a great rebounding, kind of duo. So for Chet, we would just focus a little bit more on points and assists since they do allow a lot in that situation. So, for that reason, we do very much like, the over 4 points and assists for someone like Chet. He has been playing great all season. And when we actually look at, this matchup as well, we are also expecting a pretty fast-paced game. As you all know, between these teams, we do know that, when we look at Chet, he did have a great first series against Memphis. We saw in game 1, he actually had 19 points, 10 rebounds, and also 2 assists. And that was in game 1 where they won 131-80. Then moving on from that, he had a 20-point game, 11 rebounds, 0 assists with a 118-99 win in game 2. And moved on from that, had a 24-point 8-rebound game with 0 assists with a 114-108 win against the Memphis Grizzlies. So they absolutely sweep them because they actually finished that off in the next game because they actually had a great game, 117-115. So just won that matchup. He had 11 points in that matchup, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist there. So he definitely did a great job, throughout the whole series. Obviously, you can't really take into account that series compared to the new one because this is a very much different team and a much tougher team due to the fact that they did rank higher. They did face off against Memphis. They did actually come 8th in the Western Conference. So that's why there's definitely going to be a different matchup for sure. But we definitely see someone like Chet still being able to take advantage of this and going on the over. Like I mentioned, keep an eye out for points and assists. However, I think those two categories definitely have a little bit more value due to the fact that Jokic is just such a great rebounder in Denver in general. So we could actually see Chet struggle in that category. So points and assists, keep an eye out for those lines. If the line is under his averages, then definitely look to go on the over. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Jalen Brunson. So as you all know, Jalen Brunson from the New York Knicks, and we are going to be revisiting, a game that we just talked about. Also, I do need to mention that there are only 2 games, that are on today. So that's why there is a lot of overlaps with these players and these picks. But Jalen Brunson, great player for the New York Knicks. This is against Boston, as we all know. Knicks did finish off the season, like we mentioned, 51-31, while Celtics had a 61-21, finish. Now, Jalen Brunson, when we look at his averages, did rank an average 26 points. That ranked him 8th. We saw him actually grab 2.9 rebounds, ranking him in the 150th plus. 7.3 assists he dished out and ranked him 8th. And then a 48.8% field goal percentage, which ranked him 40th. So he actually did a fantastic job all season. Now, obviously, the New York Knicks do have themselves a great matchup against Boston. And looking at Boston, we did see them rank 2nd in points allowed. They was ranked 3rd in assists allowed. And when it comes to rebounds allowed, we do see that they rank a little bit worse as they rank 13th. Now, when it comes to someone like Jalen Brunson, we do actually very much like the under for this situation here. Now, when we look at someone like Brunson and also the matchup against Boston do a little bit more of a poor job in that rebounding category. So I think points and assists is definitely where you want to focus on, as we are expecting that, when we look at Jalen Brunson and also the Boston Celtics will probably try to restrict him as much as they can in that points and assist department. So we definitely see that being a huge thing coming into this next game, no doubt about it. Now, obviously, looking at New York Knicks and the matchup with Boston, we do also see that, Jalen Brunson has definitely had a great series in Detroit. Now, it obviously is going to change due to the fact that this is a completely different matchup, but still going through those games, we did see Detroit game 2, that matchup, they actually lost 100-94. He actually had 37 points, 7 assists, 3 rebounds in that matchup. And moving on from that, in game 3, faced off against Detroit, had 30 points, 9 assists, and also 7 rebounds there, with a 118-116 win. Game 4 had a 94-93 win, a big nail biter, still at 32 points, 11 assists, and 5 rebounds there. Then had 16 points, 7 assists, 3 rebounds in game 5. And then finishing off in game 6 with a 116-113 win to seal the deal. Had 40 points, 7 assists, and also 4 rebounds. So, Jalen Brunson did do a great job during that whole series, no doubt about it. But like we always mentioned, this is a whole new series, Eastern semifinals or conference semifinals at that. It is definitely going to be a very exciting matchup between both of these teams, but we definitely still see someone like Brunson going on the under. Now, when we also talk about the Celtics and New York Knicks matchup, we do know Celtics do have great defensive players such as Derek White and Drew Holiday, and for that we actually do see that Celtics do a really good job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists to the point guard position. But like I said, I think points and assists is definitely where you want to focus on more, as we aren't really expecting a line to come out for rebounds. So keep an eye out for the line. If the line is too close to his averages, then definitely look to go on the under. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Michael Porter Jr. So MPJ, as we all know, from the Denver Nuggets, has been playing with a little bit of a niggling injury. It's definitely been tough for him, but he's been able to do very well, because we actually had seen him average during the regular season 18.2 points, 7 rebounds, 2.1 assists, while also shooting 50.4% from the field. So he did a fantastic job for the Denver Nuggets. Now, when we look at his rankings, we saw him ranked 46 in points. We also saw him ranked 31st in actually rebounds, and then assists ranked actually 118th. So he did actually a great job there. Obviously, he ranked 32nd as well in field goal percentage, which I thought was great to see. So when it comes to actually, Michael Porter Jr., he's definitely put on quite a show. However, coming into this next series is definitely going to be a tough one, because we do see that Michael Porter Jr. does actually, have a little bit of a shoulder injury. He has done and played well still. However, we definitely are still thinking that it is affecting his, I would say more unpredictability out there. If his injury is a little bit harder on him, then we could actually see him not shoot the ball, that well. And that's definitely what's happened at times during the last series. But obviously, revisiting the series again, like we mentioned before, we did see this matchup, a very big matchup. But, Thunder do rank first, 68-14 win and loss ratio or record, I would say. And the Nuggets have a 50-32 record as well. So top two teams, they're both in the top 5. So it's definitely been a very exciting matchup between both of these teams. Now, obviously, the Denver Nuggets is going to be the underdogs coming into this matchup. But looking at Oklahoma City Thunder, we actually did see that they actually ranked 3rd in points allowed. When it came to assists allowed, ranked 4th, and then rebounds allowed, we also see them ranked 20th. So they rank a little bit lower in rebounds. Now, when we look at someone like MPJ, we do very much like the under for this situation, strictly just for points and assists. However, a big reason for this is due to the fact that Thunder actually do a pretty poor job against rebounds, so we may actually see MPJ be able to grab a board or two. Points and assists, OKC Thunder have definitely been a great defensive team and a great perimeter defensive team. And what we are expecting as well is that Thunder actually do a fantastic job at restricting points and assists to the small forward position. So unfortunately, we may actually not see, someone like MPJ get a lot of wiggle room in there. So we could actually see him definitely go on the under on both of those lines for sure. Now, when we also look at this matchup as well, we also want to actually look at MPJ's matchups against LA Clippers during the season before, or the round before, sorry. Now, when we look at that matchup, game 3 against LA Clippers, 117-83 loss. We actually saw him have 7 points, 6 rebounds, and 1 assist. So he didn't really do too well in that one, and that was due to definitely an injury start to get better of him. Then game 4 happened, 101-99. Did play a little bit better, as he actually did have 17 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists. And then after that, had 14 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist in game 5 and against Clippers with a 131-115 win. So he did great job in that one. Moving on from that, we also have game 6, 115-105 loss, which actually pushed the game 7, but he had 5 points, 3 rebounds, 0 assists actually in that matchup. So it's definitely been a bit of a tough one for him. Now, looking at game 7, 15 points, 6 rebounds, and 0 assists. Like we mentioned, 120-101 win in game 7. They were able to get it done, which I thought was fantastic. Now, looking at actually this matchup as well, what we also do see between Nuggets and Thunder is that, you know, not only do they rank well at doing a very good job defensively at small forwards, but, you know, MPJ, he tends to move to small forward, sometimes power forward at times, and Thunder still actually do a great job against power forwards as well. So that may not be the best for MPJ here. So we definitely do like the under. Like I said, focus a little bit more on points and assists. Keep an eye out for that. Like I always mention, if the line is too close to his averages, definitely look to go on the under. So definitely see a lot of great value there.